So thank you for coming today. I'm Angela, if you don't know me. And we're going to flow today, optional 90s playlist. And I really want today the focus to be on really staying in the present moment, noticing this moment. And there's a lot of airplay that goes to that, but we'll kind of discuss bringing that attention inward and really noticing how you're feeling, what you need to do at this moment. And before we go into child's pose, I want to start seated. Any comfortable seat, bringing your hands palm up on your knees. As you inhale, starting to draw the fingertips together as if you're catching that breath. Exhale, opening and releasing the breath. Inhale, drawing the breath in. Exhale, letting it go. One more inhale. Fingertips touch. Exhale, let it go. Now rocking forward, coming into a child's pose. Finding your child's pose that fits you. Letting the knees draw to the edges of the mat if that's comfortable. If you have a playlist, if you'd like to start that now, if you haven't, this would be a good time. Just settling onto the mat, starting to notice how the knees meet the mat, the tops of the feet, the forehead, the hands. Feeling the chest rise on the inhale and release on the exhale. As we start to cultivate that ujjayi breath that will draw us through practice. Inhaling through the nose, pulling that breath in through the back of the throat, letting it pass all the way across the spine to the tailbone. Exhale, letting it release, coming across the spine and out the nose. As you listen and notice your breath, just finding that pinpoint moment where the inhale and the exhale cross over. And using this breath to really take a tour of the body, noticing what's happening, what today is presenting you. We'll start to walk the hands to the right side. And giving the left side of the chest its opportunity to lengthen and expand. Just letting that breath gently open the spaces between the ribs. Taking the hands through center, walking them over to the left. As you draw breath along the right side, you may notice a little difference. We generally have one side that's a little bit tighter than the other. And bringing hands back to center. Gonna come up to tabletop. Knees under hips, hands under shoulders, and always keeping nice wide hands to protect the wrists and protect the elbows. So we inhale the cow, letting this be a long, lingering cow, noticing for a moment how it feels when the belly drops. Maybe the hips shift one side or the other. Exhale into cat, letting that belly button pull up to the spine, letting the head be light. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. Flowing through 4 more on your own. Letting these be yours, taking any movements and emotions. When you're finished with your fourth round, we'll pause in tabletop. And taking the right hand out or palm in and left leg behind, foot flexed. So we exhale, we'll hug elbow toward knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. One more exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Planting the hand down, tapping that left foot over to the right. Maybe gazing over at the foot, the calf. If you want a little motion here, just gently easing into this pose. Feel free to rock a little bit side to side. And drawing the knee back up and over, planting it on the mat. We'll extend left arm, palm in and right leg behind. Hugging elbow toward knee on the exhale. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. One more exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Planting left hand, crossing the right toe over to the left. Just creating a little bit more length in the right side. And crossing the knee back over. We're going to sit back onto the heels. Shift the hips over to the side. Bring the legs in front, coming to staff pose. And come into a reclined pigeon, or reclined, seated pigeon. That's what I meant. Right foot comes on to left thigh, hands behind, starting to bend into that left foot. And you can really adjust how deep this is, depending where that foot is. If it's further away, it's not going to be as intense. The intensity increases as you bring it closer to the body. This is a nice way to start working into the hips because you have a lot more control this way. And we will be working into the hips today. As you straighten the left leg, we'll take that right foot, crossing it over. Right hand comes behind, half lower to the fish. As the left arm reaches up on the inhale, the exhale will twist to the right. So finding your spine nice and straight. That left elbow can hook over the knee. You can hug the knee, whatever feels best. You're not worrying about going too deep right now. We're early in practice. And coming back to this front, uncrossing legs. We'll take that seated pigeon on the second side. Left foot crosses onto right thigh. Hands behind for support and bending into the right knee. Again, any little shifting here might feel good. Straighten the right leg, half lower to the fish. Left foot crosses over to the right, left hand behind. Inhaling the right arm up. As we exhale, we twist. Feeling a nice tall spine on the inhale. And exhale, letting that gaze lie where it feels good on your neck. Nice. Coming back through the center. Cross the legs. Coming back to our tabletop. We'll take one cat-cow to rinse out. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. Inhale to tabletop. As we exhale, press back to our first down dog with the practice. Walking the feet so they're about hip width. Hand shoulder width. You want to feel that engagement as if those quadriceps are hugging your femurs, feeling the legs active and working, and the heels drawn toward the earth. Maybe bending one knee at a time, maybe rocking the hips side to side. We'll be here many times during practice, so no need to really go any deeper than you need to right now. And starting to tiptoe the toes to the top of the mat. So we find ragdoll, letting the feet stay about hip width. You can hold on to elbows, clasp hands behind your back, and maybe let the arms flow freely. It might feel nice to rock a little bit side to side. This is a great resting and cooling pose. And a pose you're welcome to take at any point if you feel like your breath has run away. Releasing the hands, walk the feet together. Big toes to touch. As you root into the feet, inhale, rising to mountain pose. And exhale, hands gathering at heart center. Pausing here for a moment. Just letting your gaze be soft, or maybe closing your eyes. So we take this opportunity to set an intention for our practice. The next inhale, as your gaze sharpens, arms sweep up to mountain pose. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, half lift, nice straight spine. Exhale, plant hands, stepping back to plank. In this plank pose, feeling those active legs, heels reaching back, head reaching forward, core reaching up toward the spine. As you draw the elbows back, we'll lower halfway for chaturanga or all the way down to the belly. Coming to the tops of the feet. Inhale, rising cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll move through the sun salutation A, one breath per movement. Always listening to your breath and letting this be your flow, your moment. So we gaze forward on the inhale, exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to mountain pose. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands, step or hop back, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Gazing forward on the inhale. Exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to mountain pose. Folding forward on the exhale. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Gazing forward on the inhale, exhale, step or hop to the top. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, rise to mountain pose. Folding forward on the exhale. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pausing here for a moment, noticing your breath. Noticing the heat you're building. Knowing these sun salutation poses are a warm-up for our practice, not just to warm up the body, but to help empty the mind, giving you that opportunity to really take a mental break. So we gaze forward on the inhale, exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Keeping the hips down, inhale, rising to chair pose. And taking care of your chair, adjusting the feet. Sometimes a wider stance is kinder on your knees and your back. The hands can come forward to that wall, ceiling, crack, or seam, or they can come to your heart center, or maybe taking a wide V. As always, making sure your shoulders are comfortable. Rocking about 80 or 90% of the weight into your heels. Making sure you can see your toes. And then releasing forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, extending the right leg behind, flexing the foot, drawing that heel back. Exhale, warrior one. So put steps between the hands, shining your heart forward so your shoulders are square. The back foot about 45 degrees. Feeling the outer edges of both feet. Ceiling on the mat. Opening warrior two. Letting that back foot pivot so it's perpendicular. Shoulders above hips. Gaze to the front over that index finger. Feeling the hips start to open. Flipping the palm up, reversing your warrior. Backhand can rest on your thigh. You can tuck behind your back. Exhale, cartwheel hands, chaturanga. Always an option to float the right leg. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts on the inhale. Exhale, warrior one. Rising up, feeling firm, starting with the feet. We're working upward for stability. It's always most important to start at the bottom. And keeping that front knee tracking a little bit more toward the pinky toe edge. And opening warrior two. Flipping the palm up, inhale, reverse warrior. Always keeping that nice bend in the front knee. Exhale, cartwheel hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll move through the sun bee, one breath per movement. You can always skip the chaturangas and up dogs if it's creating too much tension in your shoulders or too much heat. So we gaze forward on the inhale, exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, rise into chair pose. We'll take 3 breaths here. And exhale, folding forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts on the inhale. Exhale, warrior one. Rising up with the inhale. Warrior two on the exhale. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts on the inhale. Exhale, warrior one. Inhale, floating up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts on the inhale. Exhale, warrior one. Inhale, rise. Open, warrior two on the exhale. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts, inhale. Exhale, warrior one. Inhale, rise. Open, warrior two on the exhale. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll take this through one more time. Inhale, right leg. Exhale, warrior one. Inhale, rise. Open, warrior two, exhale. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, warrior one. Inhale, rise. Open warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel hands, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pausing here for a few breaths, knowing you can always come to child's pose, knowing this is a great time to take a drink, making sure to hydrate throughout practice. And just taking a moment to notice the effect of the sun salutations. When we're flowing and breathing like that, we really have time to think about anything else. Over the next couple breaths, we'll find our way back to down dog. Inhale the right leg behind, bending the knee, opening the hip. So the hips are stacked. You may want to circle your joints, just creating a little bit more mobility. And straightening the right leg. We'll take some elevators. Exhale, right knee, right elbow, down to wrist, up to elbow, and extend. Again, exhale to elbow, down to wrist, up to elbow, extend. One more, exhale to elbow, down to wrist, up to elbow, extend. Exhale, stepping forward, crescent lunge. Keeping feet parallel, about hip width. Trying to straighten the back leg as much as you can. And the arms reach toward the sky. And we'll cactus the arms as we draw the left knee down. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, dip. Inhale, straighten. One more time. Exhale, dip. Inhale, straighten. And opening warrior two. So we prepare for Trikonasana, triangle pose, straightening the right leg and drawing the hips back as far as you can and reaching forward. As you release the right hand, placing it at a spot where you're able to still keep the chest stacked. The hand can be on a block, on the mat, on your thigh, your shin. If you're looking for more heat, maybe try floating in front of you, coming into a power triangle. Always drawing those thighs together for stability and keeping the core working to protect your back. Inhale, rising, coming up to goddess. So facing the left side of your mat, heels in, toes out. As we sink down, hands can come to heart center to start. And getting yourself down, the spot that feels good. Or maybe not good, but challenging, but not painful. Rising back up to star. Pivoting to the back of your mat. As we exhale, coming to extended side angle. Left forearm on thigh, right arm overhead. Rooting into the outer edge of that back foot. Feeling the energy run along that line. Nice. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel hands. Take a vinyasa or step back to down dog. We'll inhale the left leg. Bending the knee, opening the hip. If you want to take any rolling of your joints, feel free. The ankle, the knee, the hip. Straighten the leg on the inhale, taking your 3 elevators. Exhale, knee to elbow, down to wrist, up to elbow, and extend. Again, exhale, knee to elbow, down to wrist, up to elbow, and extend. One more, exhale, knee to elbow, down to wrist, up to elbow, extend. And exhale, stepping forward, coming to our warrior two. Setting up for Trikonasana. Straightening the left leg, rocking the hip back, reaching as far forward as you can and releasing the left hand. Right hand reaches for the sky. Core is hugging in towards your spine. Deciding where that hand needs to be and always finding a gaze that feels best on your neck. Nice. Inhale, rising to five-pointed star. Long edge of the mat again. Heels in, toes out. As we sink into goddess, we've just been here. If you'd like to play around with something different, you can lift a heel or two, sink down, maybe rock a little bit. Just creating more strength and more heat. With your heels on the mat, rising up to star, pivoting to the front of the mat, warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. And trying to keep equal energy if you can in both feet. We have a tendency just naturally to rock more weight into that front foot. Just for balance and stability, trying to make sure your back foot is engaged. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel hands. Take a vinyasa or step back to down dog. And gazing forward on the inhale, exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, coming to chair pose. We warmed up a little bit in this chair, so see if you can drop it down just another centimeter. We won't be here for very long. Bringing the hands to your heart. So we exhale, we'll twist right. And we're coming into a lunge from here. So as you rock weight into the right foot, you can step the left foot back immediately, or you can come into a flamingo as you work your way back. Just floating that left foot for a moment before you touch the toes down. The hands can stay resting at your heart, or you can open them floor to ceiling. Nice. Inhale, rising up, crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Coming into our extended side angle. We've just been here, so you have the option to really take this anywhere you'd like. Maybe floor to ceiling arms. If you have a bind or half bind you'd like to work on, flipping the palm so it's facing away from you. Back of the hand rests in the small of your back. Maybe reaching through with the other hand, clasping hands, or even just grasping onto your shirt or your pants. Making sure you keep your chest open to facilitate breath. If you found yourself bound, releasing the bind. Bringing hands to the mat as we walk them to the center for Prasarita. So facing that left edge again, this time feet are parallel. Letting the head sink down. The hands can be underneath. You can reach forward to your ankles behind. If you're here and you're not feeling anything, I actually encourage you to walk your feet a little bit closer. It gives you more space for gravity to help draw you down. Just looking for that pose, that variation that helps you really get into your hips. And I do Prasarita, which is one of my favorite poses. I love the feeling on the exhale. I like to notice what's happening in my hips. Just visualize a little bit more space being created. And planting hands under your shoulders. We'll take a twist. Planting the right hand. Left hand reaches up toward the sky. And switching sides. Left hand reaches center. Right hand reaches for the sky. Bringing the right hand down. We'll pivot to the front of the mat, coming into pyramid. We're slipping that left foot as far forward as you'd like. Trying to square hips to the front of the mat. Draw the nose toward the knee. And here the hands can really be anywhere, whether they're on the mat, on your foot, your ankle, your hips. Two more breaths here. As we exhale, stepping the left foot forward. Sinking back into chair pose. Into our chair twist with hands at heart center. We'll twist left. And starting to rock weight into the left foot as you step the right foot back. Finding a point of stability. Each side's a little bit different. And again, if you'd like to open those arms floor to sky, or keep them at your heart. And pivoting to center, rising up, crescent lunge, opening to warrior two. And we come into that extended side angle. Taking a moment, noticing what you need on this side. It may be the same, it may be something completely different. Knowing we're never obligated to take the same shape on each side. You found a bind, releasing the hands. Bringing both hands to the mat as we find Prasarita. This time facing the right side. Maybe exploring something different this time. If you'd like to clasp hands behind your back, creating some more softening in the shoulders. And some people like to rock a little bit side to side. Unclasping the hands, if you clasp them, placing them on the mat. As we pivot to the front for a pyramid pose, stepping the right foot as far forward as you need. Just finding the stance that feels best on the side. Just inviting that breath along the hamstrings. One more breath. Exhale, stepping the right foot forward. Rising all the way to mountain pose. And bringing hands to heart center. So we're going to come into a tree pose next, starting on the right foot. Keeping it planted on the mat. And the left foot can come to your calf, your ankle, your thigh. Hands can rest at your heart. They can grow toward the ceiling. You can take a namaste behind your back. Just finding your drishti, your non-moving focal point for balance. Knowing you won't be here very long. Wherever your hands are, bringing them back in the front, we're coming into a standing pigeon. So slipping that left foot on top of the right thigh. Hands at heart center. Letting yourself come down as deeply as you can. It's not a fun pose. It's not a comfortable pose. As long as you're not feeling pain and breathing through it. Maybe your hands can reach the mat. They can reach the mat. See if you can rest your shin across your triceps. If you can and you'd like to take a brief arm balance here, hugging the right tricep with the left foot, coming forward into a flying pigeon. Just breathing through the last 2 breaths here. Inhale, coming up to one-legged mountain. Exhale, stepping back to warrior 2. Finding our humble warrior. Clasping hands behind, maybe taking a strap or towel if your shoulders are tight. You should draw the fists down, rolling the shoulders open. And the inhale, exhale, bowing down inside the right knee. Opening the hips, opening the shoulders. Releasing the hands, pivoting toward the front, and stepping the left foot forward, forward fold. Rooting into the feet, inhale, rising to mountain pose. And exhale. Hands at heart center as we come into our tree on the second side. Left foot roots, right foot plants. Pushing the foot into the leg and the leg into the foot to create a little bit more stability and structure. Again, knowing we won't be here very long. With your hands at heart center, holding on to that right foot as you cross it over the left thigh, finding our standing pigeon. Just embracing this side, really noticing where you need to go here, where you need to shift. Knowing each side is a little bit different. Two more breaths here. Rising up to our one-legged mountain. Stepping back on the exhale, warrior 2. As we set up for humble warrior, finding some clasp behind your back or a towel or a strap. Inhale, opening the chest up toward the sky. As we exhale, bowing down inside the left knee. Just really relishing that opening in the hip and the shoulders. Letting it all go. Imagining you're squeezing out any stress, any drama, any tension. Releasing the hands, planting them on the mat, pivoting toward the front, stepping the right foot forward. Coming into our Malasana, we'll bring the feet about hip width apart, or mat width apart actually. Heels in, toes out. Hands at heart center. You may draw your elbows inside of your knees. Maybe finding a little bit of rocking side to side. And there's no need to have your heels down. We're really working with whatever your own physiology is. For some people who are super flexible, it may be too easy to sit like this and maybe challenging yourself by coming up an inch, just noticing the difference. And if you'd like to go into a crow from here, feel free to go there, placing hands on the mat in front of you, about a foot, shoulder width, nice white fingers, knees on the triceps, and playing around with lifting a toe or two. And even if your feet are on the mat and you're leaning on your triceps, you're still getting the same benefit, the same strengthening. And coming into a child's pose when you're ready. Listening to your breath right now, noticing the changes you created. How does this breath feel different from the first breath of practice? How does this child's pose feel from our first child's pose? Pressing back to a down dog. Rock forward to a plank. Coming down onto forearms, coming into forearm plank. So drawing the forearms and the hands into the mat, really actively pressing to protect the shoulders, drawing heels back. You can stay here if you'd like to work a little bit more on the obliques, and take hip dips, dropping hips to the right side and to the left side, maybe pivoting on the toes. Coming back to center, planting the palms into the mat, pressing back to down dog. Taking a little pressure off of the shoulders. Rocking forward to plank, setting up for side plank. Right hand comes to center, a couple inches in front of the shoulder. As we open up, you can be balancing on hand and foot. You can bring a knee down. You can come to forearm, finding what works with your body. Wherever you are, we want the hip to be floating up, just making a mini rainbow. If you'd like to come into a wild thing from here, you can take that top foot and just step it behind. Finding a little bit of heart opening and opening the back. Once we're back in our plank, closing the left hand down, switching sides. Left hand in the center where the right hand was. And pivoting open. Noticing anything different you need on the side. And taking any adjustments you need. If you'd like to come into that wild thing or flip dog, you can step the right foot behind, planting it about where the knee is on the left leg. It's a different way to come into this pose. And coming back to plank, if you left plank. And pressing back to down dog. So we gaze forward on the inhale, exhale. Step or hop to the top of the mat. Coming all the way to your seat. Coming into our staff pose. Legs are straight in front of you, feet flexed. We'll start with a forward fold. Letting the arms rise up in the inhale. Do hinge at the hips, folding forward on the exhale, trying to keep that lower spine as straight as you can. When you can't come any further forward, you can round upper back and middle back. Releasing, coming back to your seat. Coming back into half lord of the fish like we did at the opening of practice. And taking the left foot, crossing it over to the right. Left hand comes behind. Right arm comes up on the inhale. So we exhale, twisting left. Maybe noticing you're twisting a little bit more open or a little bit softer. Maybe a little bit further. Returning to center, we'll switch sides, straightening the left leg, crossing the right foot over. Right hand comes behind, inhaling left arm, so we exhale, twisting. And coming back through to center. We'll plant our feet on the mat, hands out in front. You start to lower your spine onto the mat. We're setting up for bridge pose, bringing your feet and knees about hip width. Fingers touching or almost touching the back of the heels. And starting to lift the hips up. A block under the hips is always an option here. Maybe curling the shoulders under, clasping hands. I like to engage my glutes in this pose. For some people, this hurts their back. So just finding what works with you and always listening to your body. And we'll have 2 more opportunities to do this. There's many variations here. We're releasing hands, returning the spine to the mat. Maybe swaying the knees side to side, releasing the lower back. And if you have a wheel in your practice, feel free to go there on either or both of the 2 next bridges. As we exhale, lifting the hips up. Maybe trying to pop up on toes, lifting the heels, activating some different muscles. When we're in bridge, always keeping that gaze straight up. It protects the neck. Lowering the spine into the mat. Windshield wipering the knees again, side to side. We'll take 1 more. Your bridge of choice. Lowering it down, hugging knees into your chest. You rocking a little bit to massage your spine. And straightening the legs up toward the sky for an inversion. You can stay here in candlestick. You can take legs up the wall. If you have a shoulder stand or any other inversion, feel free to go there. If you're coming into shoulder stand, making sure to support your lower back with your hands. Sometimes I crawl my elbows just a little bit closer together. It creates a little bit more stability for the shoulders. Noticing that sensation of refreshment as we aid the flow of blood back to the heart. If you found your way into a shoulder stand, you may want to come into plow as you exit the pose, touching toes behind and returning your spine to the mat. And your spine is on the mat, giving the knees a nice hug. Again, maybe rocking side to side. Now we're going to take a reclined cow face. And I think this is easier and a little bit more gentle on the knees than taking cow face seated. I'll take the right leg, crossing it over the left, bringing the knees toward the chest. And from here, you can hold onto the knees, the calves, the feet. You can adjust the depth as to how far you pull those knees toward your chest. Maybe notice what happens if you shift just slightly toward the left. It may give you a little bit more opening in your IT band, your outer hip. Just visualize drawing the breath into any space that's giving you a little bit of resistance. Release, switching sides with feet on the mat, crossing left leg over right. Draw knees to center. And taking any interpretation you'd like. If you'd like that shift, maybe rocking just slightly to the right. Creating a little bit more opening in the left hip. Bringing the knees back to center, giving them a hug, and finding your way to happy baby. And hold on to feet or to ankles or to knees. Maybe rocking a little bit. Maybe straightening your right leg or your left leg or both legs. Releasing the feet to the mat. I'm going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet pressed together. Knees open out to the side. Placing a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly. Letting any breath of effort, your Ujjayi breath, release. Just finding a more natural breath. Starting to take over the body. Just thinking of that sensation of living in the moment. It can be hard to do, but it's something you do probably more than you realize. Walking down the street, noticing the beautiful trees, the fiery reds and the yellows, and the way the sun hits the trees and lights them up. Noticing the contrast of the blue sky and the bright leaves. And each time we do something like this, we're giving ourselves that opportunity to just stop and really live in the moment, to enjoy every breath. Drawing the knees back together, straightening the legs, extending the arms overhead, coming into a full body stretch. I'm going to come into a banana-shaped banana asana. So walking the feet to the left corner and the hands to the left corner. As far as is comfortable, so you're making that crescent shape with your back on the mat. Maybe crossing the right ankle over the left. Maybe that left hand holds on to your right wrist. Just noticing the way the right side of your rib cage expands on the inhale. Releasing, letting the hands and the feet walk over to the right corners. Maybe crossing left ankle over right. Maybe the right hand grabs the left wrist. Releasing back to center to that full body stretch, reaching the fingers as far above and the toes as far away as you can. And drawing the knees into the center, squeezing them, giving yourself the tightest hug you can. And finding some rocking and rolling, squeezing out any tension, any stress. Arms coming out like a capital T. Finding supine twist as the knees gently drop over to the left. And you can let them stack. You can cross the right over the left, finding twisted root. You can put a cushion or a block in between your knees. As you let your body soften down toward the mat. Letting the shoulders reach toward the mat, knowing they both don't need to actually touch. Switching sides, coming to center, making sure you're taking the same shape as you let the knees drift over to the right. And coming back to center. Setting up for Shavasana, taking whatever shape you'd like. Finding traditional Shavasana with legs extended, toes splayed out, arms at the side. If you sore back, you can bend knees, feet on the mat with the knees knocking in toward each other, or finding a comfortable seat. Giving yourself this well-deserved break. Starting to bring awareness to your body, wiggling fingers and toes, rolling out wrists and ankles. The inhale, extending your arms above your head, finding a full body stretch, a fresh breath of air. The next exhale, drawing the knees in as you roll over to your side, resting your head on your arm. Letting your breath start to deepen. And slowly bringing yourself up to a comfortable seat. I'd like to share this quote with you. Sometimes we're all too quick to count the days that we forget to make the days count. With our hands in prayer position, drawing them up to third eye center, wishing you peace in your thoughts, bringing hands to lips, wishing you peace in your words, and drawing hands to heart center, wishing you peace in your heart. As we bow forward together, we seal our practice. Namaste.